the Modern Warfare 2 Season 2 Reloaded update is here, and there's quite a bit of weapon tuning that has definitely shooken up the meta. So I have 5 new best weapons that you should be using right now after the update. And alongside, I'll be covering some of the weapon tuning that went on. Keep in mind, some of these weapons weren't even touched. They're just worth noting because they're still that good. And now, before we get to anything else, make sure you guys are subscribed with all those notifications on. Some of the weapons that did get tuned are not in this video because I will be covering them in a separate video. So make sure you guys are subscribed with all those notifications on, and you will be notified the next time I upload. We got best class setups, crazy gameplays, challenges, ranked play, more top 5s, and so much more. And then do me a side and click that thumbs up button. It literally takes seconds of your guys' time, and it really does help push the video out, give us more exposure. Without further ado, here is our first class setup. We're starting off with the MX9. This actually received a mid damage range increase, so basically it kills a little bit quicker at medium range engagement. So here's the setup I'm using on it. Starting off, I have the 32 round mag. This is probably the worst thing about this weapon is the magazine size. I wish it was a 45, but we'll have to make do with what we have. 32 is the largest. This will allow us to take out multiple enemies without having to reload. Next, I have on the Bruin Q900 grip, where I get sprint to fire speed. That makes my weapon come up quicker after sprinting, and I get ADS speed, so I can be quick and snappy and just get into engagements a little bit quicker, get the first bullet off, win that gunfight. Next, we have on the Singard MKV muzzle. I threw this on, not only because I get sound suppression, so I'm off the radar, enemies have no clue where I'm at, but I also get bullet velocity and damage range, which is going to further increase the effectiveness of this weapon at longer range gunfights. So it's kind of adding on to the buff it already received. And then we have on the 508mm rear guard, which is going to give me even more damage range and bullet velocity. It's a pretty good complement to the muzzle we just threw on. And then finally, I have on the VLK Laser 7MW, which gives us both a little bit of mobility and handling on the weapon. We get ADS speed and sprint to fire speed, just like our rear grip, and aiming stability, so our weapon's a little easier to use at any given range. Now, as far as it goes for the tuning, starting with the rear grip, I fully tuned this thing out for some mobility. We get an ADS speed and sprint to fire speed. I fully tuned my muzzle for recoil smoothness and bullet velocity, which is mainly for range and damage, which is great. The barrel tunings, we did nothing on the left-hand slider because for some reason, it just didn't seem to do anything. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna leave it alone. And then the bottom slider, we tuned it for damage range. And then laser tuning, we did sprint to fire speed and ADS speed. Real quick, I'm gonna get it out of the way now. I say it in all my vids. If you guys want to get these pinpoint accurate tunings, make sure you guys plug in a mouse to your system, and that's how I do it. Or you could use the D-pad on your controller. Takes a little bit more time, but you'll eventually get there. If you can't get the exact number I have, just try to be within 3. You should be good to go. But that's going to do it for our first class setup. And then real quick, I'll take this thing to firing range. Iron sights, I wasn't sure about at first, but like after kind of using the firing range for like 3 minutes, I was like, you know what? They're not even that bad. We got some good speed. It feels really good at medium ranges over here due to the muzzle and barrel. MX9, this is what we needed. We did a little bit more buffs on this thing, but this is a step in the right direction. Next, we have the ISO HEMLOCK. This thing wasn't buffed, wasn't nerfed. It was completely left alone, and I had to include it because it is still one of my personal favorites and just overall a top tier AR to be using in Modern Warfare 2. So starting off, I have the 45 round magazine. It's the largest that goes on this. This is going to allow me to take out multiple enemies without having to reload. And at first I'm like, damn, I kind of wish I had a 60. 45 is literally perfect. So we had to have that on. Next, I have the RCOM S4 stock. This is going to greatly increase my mobility. I get sprint speed, so I can get from point A to point B a lot quicker. I get aim walking speed, which I love so much. That allows me to strafe faster, making it way harder for the enemies to land shots on me. And I get an ADS speed increase. This is definitely gonna come in handy, especially when I go over the other attachments we have on. Next, I have the Slimline Pro optic. The iron sights are cool and all, but it's just a little too clogged up for me. So I need some type of optic, and my personal favorite one is the Slimline Pro, just better visibility overall. Next, I have on the Fielder T50 barrel. This is gonna make this thing an absolute laser beam and beast at any range you put yourself into. We get damage range and bullet velocity, which is great. Again, it's just gonna make the weapon so much more effective at any given range. And we get better recoil control on it, like we even need it. It's already so accurate as is. And then finally, I have on the Cronin OP44 muzzle. We get vertical and horizontal recoil control. Again, do you really need it? We throw it on just so we can literally not have to worry about recoil control whatsoever. As far as goes for the tuning, Starting with the stock, I did ADS speed and aim walking speed. Again, I fully dedicated this attachment to mobility. I want to be as quick as I possibly can, and I'll show you that in the firing range. Next, for the optic tunings, bottom slider left completely alone, and then the slider on the left, we did ADS speed. The tuning on the barrel, we did recoil steadiness and damage range, so it's going to make my weapon easier to use and a lot better at any range you're in. And then finally, for the muzzle, on the left-hand side, we tuned it for recoil stabilization, and then on the bottom slider, we did gun kick control. Overall, it is specifically tuned for recoil control and accuracy. Quickly, I'll take my ISO HEMLOCK to the firing range, and you guys can see it is just so accurate. ADS speed is a little bit slower. Sprint speed's pretty good from that stock, but the stray speed is insane on this thing. It's actually really, really good. Dude, this is literally the most perfect weapon in Modern Warfare 2. Next, we have the Vel 46. They actually increased the close damage range. So this thing is a little bit more deadly up close, which is awesome. So this build is going to be for more run and gun and close range engagements. So for our first attachment, we have on the Schlager Soldier Grip. This is going to give us sprint to fire speed. Once again, your weapon comes up quicker after sprinting, so you're ready to get yourself in a fight. And we also get ADS speed, which makes the weapon a lot more quick and snappy. Like I said, it's going to be run and gun. So what kind of run and gun setup are we having here if we don't have on the Vel A568 collapsed stock? You get a huge increase in your mobility. ADS, sprint to fire speed, just like our rear grip, and we get an increase in movement speed. So we just feel a lot lighter on our feet. Next, I have the VLK Laser 7MW. Aiming stability, which is great, so my weapon's easier to handle, and even more ADS and sprint to fire speed. And then the only real attachment you need here to make your weapon a little bit more effective at medium ranges, if you find yourself in those, is the LACHMANN Dart 165mm barrel. You get recoil control and bullet velocity, so it's usable at longer range engagements, but again, you want to be on your feet at all times. This setup here should allow you to get very high kill gameplays due to how fast and snappy. Again, you do not want to be sitting back with this. You just want to be on the move. And then finally, I have on the FTAC Castle Comp, which is going to give us a horizontal and vertical recoil control. We're definitely going to need this because, again, our stock, it messes our aiming recoil control, aiming stability. So this came in handy and really fixed things up. Now for the tuning, starting with the rear grip, I did ADS speed and sprint to fire speed. So again, I just want this thing to be as fast as it possibly can. You cannot tune the stock. The tuning on the muzzle, we did sprint to fire speed, ADS speed. Again, wait till we get to the firing range. It is so quick. The tuning on the barrel, I did recoil steadiness and then ADS speed. You're probably surprised I didn't do damage range. I wasn't joking when I said we are moving. And then for the muzzle, you could see we only tuned this thing for recoil control. We did a pretty good job of it, as you could see in the tuning chart. We did recoil stabilization and gun kick control. Take this bad boy to the firing range. Sprint speed, looking pretty good. ADS speed, we quick and snappy. Recoil control, it's there. Medium ranges, it's there. A little sloppy, it's all good though. Hold on, let's take another hit at that. Hold on. Headshot there. Again, this is, oh my God. So good. Again, you shouldn't be fighting at those ranges, but dude, it hits. Vel 46 buff, I'm all for it. I love the MP7. Next, we have the M4. Did they nerf it? Did they buff it? They didn't do anything to it. It's good old reliable. That's what I like to call it. It's just a weapon you can always fall back and use no matter what the circumstances are, because that's just how good the M4 is. So starting off, we have the 45 round magazine. 60 is a little OD. It makes a weapon way too slow for me personally. I'm not a fan of it. 45 is just perfect. I never run out of ammo. I'm good with this. Next, we have on the FSS Sharkfin 90 underbarrel. I use this quite a bit, but for some reason haven't used it yet in this video. What's so nice about this is you get better accuracy and recoil on your weapon, and there's no cons whatsoever. You just get a more accurate weapon. How could you ever go wrong with this? Next, we have the FTAC Castle Comp, just like we had on our Vel 46. You get horizontal and vertical recoil control, which is going to further our accuracy and just better our aim. Next, we have on the high tower 20-inch barrel. This is the only barrels you should be using on your M4. I know there is just so many other options. Trust me, this is all you need. You get bullet velocity and damage range, which is going to make your M4 so much more effective at longer range gunfights. And then we also get better recoil control once again. And then finally, I have on the FSS Ali V laser, literally just my go-to. I feel like I've had this on almost every single setup. We get sprint to fire speed and ADS speed, which is going to increase our mobility, make the weapon a little bit faster. And then we also get aiming stability, which helps with our handling of the weapon. Now, as far as goes for the tuning, starting with the underbarrel, I tuned it for aim walking speed and recoil stabilization. It's going to give me both accuracy and mobility. Best of both worlds. How could you go wrong? For the muzzle, I tuned it for recoil stabilization and gun kick control. We said, screw it, we're going to full send recoil control for the muzzle. And then the tuning on the barrel, we did recoil steadiness and damage range, which is going to make our weapon just a lot more precise and accurate, while it's taking less bullets to kill at longer ranges, which is a deadly combo. When you're accurate and killing quick at long range, you're unstoppable. And then the tuning on the muzzle, or sorry, not the muzzle, the laser, we did ADS speed and then sprint to fire speed. I'm excited to take this to the firing range because I feel like this just hits all corners of just what you look for in a weapon: accuracy, recoil control, and power. So you saw the sprint speed's good. Recoil control is great. Fast ADS. This is why the M4 is good old reliable. And for our final weapon, we have the LACHMANN sub, which actually got a balance update. So they decreased the mobility. It's a little bit slower, but they improved the recoil control so it's more accurate. So keep that in mind when I give you the attachments and tuning for my new build. So starting off with the magazine, I went with the 40. Just like the M4, it's OD to put the 60 on the M4. Same here with the LACHMANN sub. It's OD to put the 50 around. You don't need it. 40 is more than enough, and 50 is just a little too much. It makes your weapon too slow. Don't need it. For my next attachment, I have on the LM Stackless mod, which is very similar to what we had on our Vel 46. Huge increase in movement speed. Like I said, they did nerf that, so having this on is kind of a necessity, so you can kind of get back to the mobility that the LACHMANN sub once had. Next, we have on the Bruin Cubic Comp. Like I stated earlier, they improved the recoil control. We're gonna run with that buff and make it even better. So with this, you get horizontal and vertical recoil control, which is gonna make a weapon even more accurate. For my barrel, I have on the FTAC M sub. This is gonna make our LACHMANN sub a lot more usable and competitive at medium ranges because we get more bullet velocity and damage range. Love it. Better recoil control. I'll take it. It's the best barrel for this weapon. And then finally, we have on the VLK Laser 7 MW. It's basically the LAV laser. I don't got to say anything more about it. As far as goes for the tunings, you can't tune the stock. You can't tune the mag. That leaves us with these three attachments. For the muzzle, I tuned it for recoil stabilization and gun kick control. Basically just fully dedicating this attachment to making my weapon as accurate as possible. For the tuning on the barrel, I did recoil steadiness and damage range. Once again, just we want to be accurate. We want to have power. Great combination, especially for medium to long range gunfights with a submachine gun. And then the tuning on the laser, we did aim walking steadiness. And then the bottom slider, I just changed it. God, it's ADS speed. You saw it in the first frame. My bad. Damn, I can't believe I just messed that up. It is what it is. Let's take this thing to the firing range real quick, and you're gonna see. Great. We can run. ADS is good. And then that improved recoil control, it speaks volumes. It's balanced, but then again, it's kind of a buff because the mobility nerf is kind of fixed with that stock. I really can't even tell that much of a difference. This thing's pretty good. And then here is the rest of my class setup that I use for basically all 5 of those weapons you just seen. I got my Kimbo P890s, which I'll show you the setup real quick. Here's the tunes for the attachments fast. These are like my go-to secondaries, man. If I ever run out of ammo, I always can rely on these things. I love to have the stun, the semtex, and then here's my perk package. Go-to, double time, scav, fast hands, quick fix. And then for the field upgrades, it's always important to have an ammunition box. Sometimes you don't run out of scav pack, so you can just throw some ammo down. And the second one, all up to you. Dead silence, trophy system, portable radar, whatever you're feeling. And that's gonna wrap up the new top 5 best weapons to use right now after the Season 2 Reloaded update. Let me know in the comments what weapons I should have added that I didn't, and I'll make sure to do so in my next top 5. I'll see you in tomorrow's upload, only if you're subscribed with all those notifications on. You guys all stay safe, have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.